Hey guys, good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Today's Monday, March 13th. It is 6:20 right now. Market's going to open in about 10 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and set up this room real quick, and then we will get started shortly with our analysis for today. Got a couple of things here to update. Looks good. All right, perfect. So a couple more things here, and once everything's good to go, I will start with our analysis for this morning. All right, looks good to go. Let me get this link sent out to you guys here in the premium. All right, links posted up. Well, that's the other curve. All right, perfect. Looks like we're good to go. Let me get this link sent out to the public right here on our social media, and we should be good to go. All right, perfect. So a few more other places for me to post this up. Just gonna post this up on our Instagram real quick. All right, looks like we're good to go, guys. So good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Today's Monday, March 13th. Market's going to open in about 7 minutes. Hopefully everyone had a great weekend. It's time to get back onto these charts. So looking over here at US30, looks like, I mean, for the most part, overall, it looks bearish. As you guys can see on the 4-hour, I'll change back to the 2 actually. So looking over here on the 2-hour, 4-hour, or sorry, 2-hour, 1 hour, and 30-minute time frames, you can see that price is bearish here. Price is bearish since price is below the pivots. Trend meter's red and the pivots are angling down. Over here on the shorter time frames, though, we have the 10-minute and 5-minute, which is bearish. However, the 1 minute here is starting to shift to the upside. So we don't have an alignment with regard to trend here. So I'm going to go ahead and follow this here. It looks like all we're waiting for is for the 1 minute to come back down. We also need a sell signal here on the 5-minute. We currently have a sell signal right here on the 10, so this is perfectly fine. But the 1 minute and 5-minute need to align. So other than that, yeah, thanks, Maddie. Maddie just posted this CNBC article right here. It's just a fake out to the upside. I'm gonna go and drag this over. Just update this right here. So looks like a lot of the banks are starting to struggle, as you guys can see over here. First Republic Bank is also starting to struggle after SVB had their issue last week. Let me get this link that Maddie just posted. Yeah, so Maddie just posted this link right here. As Dow futures fall more than 200 points, giving up earlier gains as bank shares slide. So with that said, looks like this might be a fake out to the upside before it comes right back down. So it's gotta give some time for the 1 minute here to correct back down, but at the moment, we just don't have that yet. Let me scroll up real quick. Morning, Christian. Morning, Maria. Morning, Søren. Yeah, Marin said, Søren said, morning, didn't realize you have a time shift. Yeah, we have daylight savings over here, guys. I didn't even realize it was daylight savings until yesterday, like midday, because all my clocks were off by an hour. But yeah, we had a 1 hour shift for us here in the US. Hey, Jamie, morning. Morning, Jacob. Morning, guys. All right, guys, so market's going to open in about 5 minutes. Looks like people are still making their way in, but we've already pretty much analyzed the overall trend for today. Looks like we're going to be looking for sells, but we're just waiting for a confirmation until we can take something here. But now looking over here at the 1 minute, you can see price is now correcting back to the downside. We currently have the 5 minute with a pending sell signal. So that's pretty much all we really need. Main problem here is going to be this invalid buy signal on the 10 minute. So we have to make sure that this here doesn't close with this buy signal, or else we're going to have to wait for it to provide another sell. Yeah, definitely, Jacob. No problem. Good to see you back here on the YouTube, though. So here we go with the correction back to the downside. This is perfect, exactly what we're looking for. Market's going to open in about 4 minutes. Hey, Jamie, morning. Yeah, Maddie said, I was wondering why I was so damn tired yesterday. Daylight savings. Yeah, I didn't realize it until I woke up. I was like, man, I didn't think I slept that late. But yeah, the time shift. Spring forward, so we lose an hour. I start to see the sun coming up a lot, or stay up a lot later, which is good. Getting closer to summer. Hopefully this weather gets better. Yeah, we lost an hour. So spring forward, fall backwards. In the fall, we get an hour. In the spring, we lose an hour. Hey, Gary, morning. All right, guys, market's going to open in about 3 minutes. Let me check the news real quick. I don't think there's any news this morning. I know there's news at 8 o'clock, but nothing during the session. Yes, there's news coming up over here at 8 o'clock. It's consumer expectations, inflation expectations, but this isn't really going to affect us because we're not looking to trade after 8. So I'm going to go ahead and just mark up the hour so that we're aware. Right, news right there. And let me go over here to the clean chart as well. So I've got that marked up right there, 629. And then right here at 8. Clean this up. Last week. All right, so here goes the correction back to the downside. So everything looks pretty much good for the most part. We're definitely looking for sells here. The thing that you guys want to be careful for here on open is you might get a fake out to the upside and then it might come right back down. So market's going to open in about 1 minute. When the market opens, we'll see where price pushes to. My guess is that price will fake out to the upside and come back down, or price might just fake out to the bottom and come back up. No guarantee yet as to which direction price will actually be going. But we'll see. Yeah, Natasha said she's tired. Yeah, no, me too. We'll probably get used to it after the next couple days. All right, guys, market is opening in about 15 seconds. We'll see what happens right here. I'm going to mark up opening price as soon as market opens. We want the sell signal here to close though, so once it closes in the next couple minutes, hopefully it closed. It didn't close there. So unfortunately, we still have a pending momentum here on the 5. So we can't really take any momentum scalps or momentum scalp variations until we get the sell signal here to close. So here goes, price pushes up. It's pretty much what we just predicted. As I mentioned, fake out might happen on open, and then price will likely come right back down. So fake out to the upside and correction back to the downside. Go over to the clean chart. Mark up opening price right there. All right, so there goes a fake out to the upside right there. We'll see how far it pushes up. So just be patient, guys. Don't hop into anything too quickly today. If you guys are new or if you guys aren't familiar with Mondays and Fridays are typically the riskier days to trade. Mondays because people are buying into the market. Fridays because people are exiting the market for the weekend. So yeah, just keep in mind that Mondays and Fridays are the riskiest days. You should definitely wait for some sort of confirmation before you take anything. This right here looks like it's going to be a V2 variation. High with the green candle, strong red candle, no longer strong because the wick on the bottom is so big. So no longer a V2 variation. Yeah, no variation at all there. All right, so we now have a buy signal here on the 1. We need to get a buy. We need a sell signal on the 1 and 5. But as you guys can see, price is kind of just spiking around a lot. So just be patient for a direction. Morning, Active. Morning, Kenny. Morning, everybody. Jalon mentioned that Biden spoke earlier. Thanks, Jalon. I had no idea he spoke. Morning, Shannon. Morning, guys. All right, guys. So we're just waiting for a direction here to be set. I think overall direction is still a sell. So looking over here on the higher time frames, as you guys can see, price is bearish on the 10-minute, 1 hour, and 2 hours. So the higher time frames, price is obviously bearish. Looking over here on the 5 and 10, price is bearish as well. The only time frame that isn't bearish right now is going to be the 1 minute. But you guys can see here that the 1 minute keeps bouncing back and forth. So with that said, I think price will correct back down eventually. What you can be looking for here, like what Maddie's looking for, are these variation patterns, the V1, V2, or V3. Those are reversal patterns that will indicate that price is likely to come right back down. So if I see one over here on the 1 minute, I'll let you guys know. I don't see anything here yet. So there's no confirmation of the specific reversal back to the downside just yet. Looking at the range right now as well, the range is kind of wide. So you want to be very careful because each candle here is really big. You can see here this current candle is moving about 60 points, which is 600 pips. If you have a small TP stop loss, you're going to get stopped out, right? So you want to be very careful about taking any entries here. Or if you are taking it, make sure to take it with the wider stop loss. So going back to the red flags over here, guys. So I was thinking about taking a sell here earlier, or actually I wasn't, because I was looking at it. If you guys saw my charts earlier this morning, it had a sell position marked up here, but it wasn't an actual entry because there was no sell signal here. So you couldn't take a momentum scalp off that entry. But if you just measure the trade that you're taking, like say, for example, there's a V1 coming up right here, right? You got to make sure that you have enough room for these trades to breathe, right? Like if you have a 300 pip stop loss, it's too tight because if price retraces up, you're going to get burnt out, right? This is a V1 variation here. This might be playing out as the reversal pattern, but I mean, we'll have to wait and see where price ends up going from here. So this thing still has about 30 seconds left on it. It's not one of the official entries, but it is a V1 variation. So it can indicate that price is likely to swing back down from where it's currently at if it does close properly. Because there's a double body right there off that high. One problem here is that it's wicking off the the pivot though, so it might be a little risky of a take. I take it for a speculative move, not an official trade. It just closed me out with like half TP at like 500 pips. Not sure if anyone else took it, but just took it for a quick entry right there. Let's see. Yeah, Maddie said these candles are huge. I actually got slippage on my side. So I'm looking over here at my, yeah, the slippage is horrible. I'm looking over here on my accounts. I made 560 off my FTMO, and then I made negative 300 on my MFF. So all my MFFs gave me a small loss of 300, 300, 400, but my FTMO gave me a 560 profit. So just be careful, guys. If you guys are taking any trades right now, the volatility is way too high. There's a lot of slippage. It looks like it pulled me out properly on my main account, but my copiers just screwed me over. But it's all good. I already knew it was going to be a risky trade. So I'll just take a screenshot of that real quick. Oh, and one other thing, guys. So what happened was, so I split my FTMO back into two separate 200K accounts. So I got my payout and I just split them back into two separate accounts so I can keep taking trades because I just don't feel comfortable taking big lot size. But if I split them up, I can just take what I'm normally taking, but it copies over to the other account. So let me just take a screenshot of my copier. It's easier this way. And you guys will see that you'll see that the differences in my profits. So my copier for my FTMO gave me a it's not taking. All right, so here are my profits so far, guys, of that speculative sell that I took. I just took it because I knew price was coming down. Obviously, there was slippage on my end, but it's all good. Yeah, so you guys can see right here the main account. So this is my first account locking 560. My FTMO copy right here, lock in negative 40. MFF locked in negative 320. MFF number two locked off negative 310, and then negative 400 off my third MFF. But yeah, I just split my accounts back into two separate accounts, guys, because I was giving away profits. You know, like the talk we had last week, it made me really think. I was like, man, I am really giving away like another full TP basically because I'm taking half lot sizes. So I feel comfortable with a 200K account. I just split them back up. If I feel like I want to put them back together again, I'll just message them once my next payout comes out and I'll just merge it back into a 400K. But right now, I feel comfortable taking two separate accounts. The only thing is I'm going to have issues like this with my copier, right? If I took this all in one account with a 200 lot size, I would have made 1,000 off it off just one account. But my copier here kind of screwed me over due to the slippage. It's all good. It's not really the copier's fault. Market's just kind of very volatile right now. Let's see. Hey, David, how's it going? Hey, nice. How's it going? Rain's asking what's YM. YM is US30. But YM is a future, so it's the actual Dow Jones asset. So yeah, if you guys are not familiar with YM is basically the main asset. US30 is an indice, so it's a copy of YM, but YM is like the actual asset, the future asset. So basically all indices are like copies of these future assets. Like if you trade NASDAQ 100, the real asset is NQ. If you trade S&P, real asset is ES. This is like where the data is like purely from the exchange pulling this here. Indices are different because brokers can create their own pricing, their own spread, etc. But this is like the actual asset. So one thing that I started to notice, guys, I might start trading during Asia again, not like heavily, but I'm going to be looking at entries during Asia. for NASDAQ, because I saw a couple news articles that there's a lot of prop firms, not really prop firms, but like hedge funds and big firms in Australia where they're identifying it as an untapped market. A lot of them are trading tech stocks. Obviously, as you guys know, at NASDAQ is the tech index. So I'll be looking to trade possible entries for NQ or NASDAQ during Asia session. If I see anything, I'll let you guys know, because I still got to test it out. I haven't really traded NASDAQ at all. I mean, obviously the same strategies work perfectly fine on NASDAQ as they do on US30 or YM, but I just need to see what the TP stop loss would be, because I never trade NASDAQ myself. I think it'd be 100, it'd still be the same thing, 100, 300, but I got to play around with it to see how would it necessarily play out. So we're looking for a reversal pattern here, guys, for price to correct back down for US30 or YM, whichever you want to call it. As you guys can see, price is still bearish on the other time frames. It's only bullish on the one. So looking over here on the 10-minute, sorry, on the 30-minute, 1 hour, and 2 hour higher time frames, price is pretty much bearish. Looking over here on the lower time frames, the 10-minute and 5 minutes bearish. However, the 1 minute here is bullish. So the way I'm able to identify that is I'm looking where price is currently at with regard to the pivot. So price is below the pivots here on the higher time frames. It's also below the pivots over here on the 10, in the middle over here on the 5. However, the trend meter down below is also red, indicating a bearish trend. So I still think price will come back down. It's just a matter of time until it actually, swings its way down and confirms. We need a sell signal over here on the 1 and 5 though for us to take any other entries. So there's currently a sell signal right here, guys, but this is not going to be a momentum scalp because we don't have a sell signal here yet. So price is rejecting directly off the sessions right here, and then it's coming right back down super heavy. So this might be the reversal that we're waiting for price to correct back to the downside, because overall we're still looking for sells. All right, here we go. As price comes back down, we need to get a sell signal here on the 5 in order for us to start looking for entries. Let's see, Christian said possible double body on the 10. No, so these aren't leveled right here, Christian. If you put a line right there where the 5 and 10 is, they're not on the same level. The red's right below it. Same with the 10-minute over here. I was looking at the same thing too, but I did see that it's not on the same level. So you can see how there's a space right there between the 10 and 5. Yeah, no, it's all good, Christian. I was looking for the same thing too, because that'd be a V1 variation. So that'd be a confirmation of a reversal back to the downside if we had that. So it would have been good. It's close, but it's not exactly on the same level. Yeah, Maddie just mentioned that we might get a high low down to open price. So the correction of price, guys, is we're looking for price to come back to open, right? This is going to be the target price point. So price is currently up here right now. Target price point is going to be this blue line. It's basically where I'm looking for price to get to. So everything here is still pretty bearish. We're just waiting for a confirmation for price to come back down. We don't have any V1 variations over here indicating that prices to come down yet. Once we get that, I think that'll be a better confluence for it to make it drop back down. So what we could have here, actually, never mind, I take that back because the high is on the red candle. I was looking for any other variations here, but we just don't have any of them at the moment. I know, Maddie, right? Yeah, if you were international, that would be the case. But if you're in the US, daylight savings is everywhere around here. I don't know if there's any states in the US that don't practice daylight savings. I think Arizona is like one of the states that was thinking about getting rid of it altogether. I don't think it's passed yet, though. That'd be weird, though, because Arizona would be like in a total different time zone, if that'd be the case. Because it wouldn't be practicing daylight savings. It'd be like the only US state to do that. Okay, some profits over here from some of the guys. So let's see, Larishna over here, nice work, Larishna. She's currently up 188 for the day. Solid profits right there. Awesome. So we got a question over here from Nadia. Nadia said, hi, Sean. I'm new, found you this weekend looking at the live. Is the time delayed? And will I see the same time once I'm subscribed? Looking forward to joining and learning. And I am. Yeah, so the YouTube is delayed by yeah, guys. So if you guys are on the YouTube, just keep in mind that the YouTube is delayed. So YouTube is delayed by like 10 to 30 seconds. Well, if you guys are on the Zoom, it's real time. So just keep that in mind. If you guys do subscribe to the premium, then you'll have access to the Zoom, which is real time. But if you guys are on the YouTube, you are delayed by like I don't know, 10 or 30 seconds. It depends on YouTube. It's YouTube that sets the delay because I'm broadcasting it from the Zoom. So if you guys are on the Zoom, it's real time. On the YouTube is slightly delayed. Some profits here from David. So David over here at locking the total profit of 88.90 for the day. Nice work, David. Small loss and big win on the next following trade there. So great work right there. Eunice over here as well. He said price was smooth on the downside during London. Took one trade pre-market. Eunice is up 232 for the day. Great work, Eunice. Perfect. All right, so we have a possible V1 variation pending over here on the 1 minute. It's on the same level. Let's see if this pushes price back down. Market's kind of choppy right now though, but yeah, this does fit criteria for a V1 variation. Maybe this will be the reversal back to the downside. It's kind of what we're waiting for here. But I mean, we'll have to wait and see where this ends up going. Some choppiness here. So there goes a V1 variation that's currently running right now. We'll see if this finally swings its way back down, but there's no confirmation yet that price is actually going to come down, because you can see over here on the 1 minute that price is actually very bullish now. So I don't know if this is going to be an indication of it really coming down or if it's going to continue pushing up, because looking over here on the higher time frames, everything here is kind of bearish, right? So it's bearish on the 30. I mean, it's obviously bearish on the higher time frames. It's not ready to come back up or swing reverse just yet. But here on the 30, 1 hour and 2 hour price is bearish. Looking over here on the 1 minute, price is still pushing up. So if this is the case and price continues to push up, then we might just shift to buys. But at the moment, we just don't have anything for us to take right now, obviously. So just a waiting game. Gosh, yeah, Kip said Arizona doesn't do it, Hawaii doesn't do it, and Indiana just started not doing it. Yeah, I never really understood daylight savings. They might as well just get rid of it if like a lot of these states aren't doing it anymore. But I mean, who knows? All right, so there's still no entries for us to take here, guys. Price is starting to push up higher. If this is the case where price continues to push up even further, then we're just going to shift to buys, which is completely fine. We don't have to follow what the higher time frames are doing. We're scalping. So if the lower time frames over here stay above, I mean, this is what we're waiting for right here. We're waiting for the 5 and 10 to follow. There might be a correction to the upside, but we just have to wait for that confirmation. The last thing you want to do is chase a buy here, and then price ends up coming right back down, right? Because the higher time frames here are still dictating the sell, but on the lower time frames over here, they're starting to shift to the upside. I mean, this might be a correction from like a lot of the stuff that was happening over the past couple of months. Price, like I think last week and the week before that dropped pretty heavy because a lot of the inflation news and interest rates going up. And now it's just a correction back to the upside. So If this is the case right here, then we might be looking for some buys, but we just don't have anything yet. But we don't really care too much about the higher time frames. The higher time frames are just going to be, our direction long term. But what really matters is going to be these shorter time frames up here, because we're looking for these quick scalps. We're not really looking to. We don't care what's happening long term, because we only trade for like about an hour in the morning. So we just care about what's going on right now specifically. So looking over here, we'll see if price continues to, obviously push up higher. We currently have a buy signal across the 5, 10, and 1. So with that said, it's better for us to look for buys here. We just got to wait for better confirmations. So let me see if there's any target areas here. On the 1, I don't think there's, okay, so there's a sessions right here. So target price point here, if price continues to push up higher, is going to be the London low. So I'm looking back over here. Price actually dropped a lot. So looking over here is price, we just pulled back to like last night. So price actually dropped pretty heavily over the London session. So right here from this area, price has pretty much been dropping. Yeah, so this is London session over here. This correction is actually due. So price dropped from like way up here, or wherever this high was. It dropped about like 8,000 pips. So this correction is actually, it's due for a correction, because it's been dropping for a while now. So if price continues to push up, target price point is obviously going to be the sessions up there. But, it's just going to be a matter of time until we can confirm an actual entry. So it looks like price is now bearish over here on the 5, or not yet. It's almost bearish. You can see that price shifted its way to the upside above the pivots. However, the pivots are now angling up. The only thing here is the trend meter. The trend meter is a bit laggy, so it's currently blue right now, which is neutral. If it turns green, it's going to start to confirm the bullish trend. Looking over here on the 10-minute, price is currently right at that same spot. It's starting to shift above the pivots, but it hasn't actually closed yet. So no confirmation of the shift to the upside just yet, but that's kind of where we're expecting price to go to. Yeah, Jacob said the idea behind daylight savings time is to make better use of natural daylight and conserve energy by moving clock forward by 1 hour in the summer. During the summer, people can enjoy more sunlight in the evening, less artificial lighting, which can save energy. Yeah, no, Jacob's 100% right. That's why they created daylight savings. But I don't know. There were a lot of studies that show that the hour doesn't make I guess now things have changed. Obviously global warming and all that stuff. Yeah, I read a couple articles about that. But no, Jacob is 100% right. That's the main reason why we have daylight savings. I'm not sure if you guys have it in Europe. I thought you guys do, but maybe you guys have stopped following it as well. But yeah, I know it's a little different, because I think you guys might be doing it next week. Yeah, Søren said next week. Yeah, no, I figured you guys still had it. It's just on a different date because of where you guys are located in the world. Yeah, but no, it is kind of interesting that like a couple of the US states don't do it. Hawaii, it makes sense. Hawaii is an island. And then also Arizona is kind of a random one. But yeah, like Kip said, Indiana as well. So we'll see. Times are changing. Yeah, Søren said they also want to stop it out in the UK. Makes sense. Gotcha. Yeah, Jacob said EU's delayed by 14 days. Yeah, Arslan said in Europe, especially in Germany, we're always in savings. Yeah, Jacob said it doesn't make sense to have it in the north because it's so light during summer anyways. Yeah, no, exactly. I agree with you guys 100%. Honestly, I don't care, but it is kind of annoying like the first week of daylight savings, because it does throw you off a bit. Like today, I'm kind of thrown off. I'm a little tired. Just my body's still not used to waking up like an hour earlier. All right, so we have a possible V2 variation right here on the, or actually this was a momentum scalp failure. I don't know if anyone took it. but it was a momentum scalp failure right there. I mean, technically, well, so it'd be hard for us to identify this as a momentum scalp failure, guys, because you don't have the confirmation here on the 10. And also volume was too high. Yeah, sorry, guys. Thanks, Pam, for reminding me. So I didn't even notice this right here because for one, we don't have an overall bias. So again, I'll put the criteria over here for pretty much all the entries that we're taking for official strategies. First, we need an overall trend, right? So this right here, I mean, I would have just, I guess I overlooked it because we didn't have a confirmation here on the 10. In order for us to take any entries, we need to confirm the overall trend. Also, Pam also identified that the volume here was above average. So two things there. I mean, for one, there's no overall trends. There's no entry for us to take. I wasn't necessarily looking for anything right now. And then on top of that, also volume down below was above average. So thanks for the input right there. Not that Pam, that you know, I always miss that down there, the volume. But that's like one of the most important things to look at. I mean, the main thing here is the 10 minutes. So we're looking for the 10-minute here to close above the pivots. Once we have that, we can start to identify if price is going to continue up or if it's going to correct back down. So like basically the pattern I'm looking for here is the push up, retracement, and continuation to the upside. Kind of similar with this on the 5. The 5 is actually more clear because price already closed above it. So we're looking for this to push up, retrace, and continue to the upside. The 1 minute over here already confirmed it. So you can see right here, the 1 minute pushed up, retraced, and pushed up super heavily. So this right here is actually is actually fine. We just need the 5 and 10 here to confirm. Once we get this here to confirm, then we can start looking for buys, but we just don't have that confirmation yet. So right here, we currently have a bullish momentum signal on the 1, but again, we haven't confirmed the trend here yet, right? The trend here on the 5 and 10 are still, I'd consider it neutral. So we can't take this buy over here. I mean, if you guys want to just focus on just the 1 minute, I mean, you guys could technically take it, but it's not one I would personally take. It just doesn't meet my criteria for entry. You'd have to use a 25-50 split on this one too. Yeah, so the reason why I'm identifying this is because this is still technically an entry. If you're applying the other strategies like the pivot scalp strategy, this is a pivot scalp entry. It's just not a momentum scalp because we don't have overall trend here yet. But this right here could be a pivot scalp. So Maddie over here said he caught half of that, half TP off the pivot scalp, or momentum scalp. It's just happening too fast. So yeah, if you guys took it, that'd be an entry there, but not one that I'm going to be counting or one that I'm going to be taking. So I'm looking for only the 3 main strategies here. So I'll put over here real quick. First strategy I'm looking at is going to be the momentum scalp failure. Second strategy is going to be the momentum scalp variation. But if you guys have access to the course, you guys will know the other strategies. So there's about 30 strategies in the course that you guys can learn. All of them were perfectly fine. It's just up to which one you guys like to apply. But on these live sessions, I'm only focusing on these 3 strategies right here. Momentum scalp failure, momentum scalp variation, and momentum scalp. And this is just going to teach you guys discipline, right? If you guys can focus on just 1 or 2 strategies or even 3, it's going to make, you know, all the difference in your profitability and consistency with trading. So yeah, so for the most part, I'm just looking at these here as we look at these entries. Target price, well, mainly I'm only looking at these 2 really because I don't really take the failure. I take the momentum scalp variation and momentum scalp, but I don't really take the momentum scalp failure very much because it's a bit riskier. Target price point right here, if price continues to push up, is going to be the sessions. I mentioned this earlier. It's pretty much where I see price going from where it's currently at. But there's no confirmation yet. So we're looking for the 5 and 10 here to confirm that price is going to keep pushing to the upside. But, you know, obviously we just don't have that confirmation just yet. Let's see, it's about to be 7 o'clock right now, so we still have an hour of the market left. So look for entries here. All right, so hopefully we get an overall trend before or soon, actually, because it's 7 o'clock right now. We still have an hour, but we need to have a confirmation before we can start looking for anything here, really. All right, so just looking at the, so here are the higher time frames. Obviously, you can see price is still kind of mixed. Let's see, Medusa, there's news right now. Which news event's going on right now, Medusa? I'm trying to see. Because I didn't see anything here for the US. I've been looking at different news. Well, I've been looking at the main ones. So Forex Factory, my FX book, and then also I'm looking at, there's one over here too on the economic calendar. There's news for France right now, but I don't see anything for the US. There's something for US at 8 o'clock. So this is going to be an hour from now. I know there's France news though. So I mean, that might be what Madhu noticed. He might have thought it was for US, because I thought that was for the US earlier today too. But it's for France. Yeah, so that's the thing that kind of threw me off too, Madhu, because yeah, Madhu said it might be an hour off. That's where I was confused about, because I wasn't sure if this was the proper time at 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock. But on my clock over here, I already have my proper time. So I think it is an hour later. 8 o'clock, we have consumer inflation expectations for February, 3-month bill auction, 6-month bill auction, etc. Closed door emergency meeting. Oh, that's crazy. I have a news event that says closed door emergency meeting at 8:30 today. I'm pretty sure they're going to be talking about the SVB bank crash. Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, as you guys can see, like starting last week, the recession news is getting more and more serious, right? We have the first big bank crash of the recession. So a lot of craziness happening in the market this week. It's a good thing for us though, because it's going to cause volatility in the market. Since we scalp here, it's going to create a lot of opportunities for us to get in and out of trades. So I haven't taken anything in except for that first trade earlier. I'm just kind of sitting on my hands right now because I'm waiting for some sort of trend here to confirm. Looking over here on the 10, you guys can see the break and retest of the pattern here. So I was basically identifying this as price breaking close past the pivots, retesting and continuing to the upside. That's the pattern that's playing out. So you can see price broke above, retested the pivot, and we're just looking for the correction back or the continuation back to the upside. If that's the case, then great. We'll start looking for buys here. But at the moment, we just don't have that confirmation yet. So right here's a possible momentum scalp variation, momentum scalp. Not one that I would personally take because we don't have a confirmation of the trend yet. But if you guys do want to take this trade here, I think it's going to be a red flag because it's going to be right at the sessions. Yeah, it's going to have to break through the sessions in order for it to hit TP. So obviously not one that I would personally take, but it looks like this would be the setup right here. The candle's just way too big. So I wouldn't take this trade here, guys. Guys, whenever you see something like this, you have to go back to the red flags, right? One of the red flags is to avoid the entry if the candle is too big. So right here for number 4, red flags when to avoid trades when candle prior to entry is too large. So this candle right here, the entry candle, you can see how the candle is the stop loss would be consumed by the candle. So what would happen here is if price retraces back because the candle's so huge, then it'll stop you out before it reaches your TP, right? So for an entry like this, I would have totally skipped it. As you guys can see, market is very, very volatile right now. It's like each candle is like 1,000 pips, which is like, it's really big for what we're going for here. And also it's right at the red flag over here as well. And put the red flag back up. So when to avoid trades: when price is near sessions, when price is near news price, when price is near opening price, or when candle prior to entry is too large. This one here is obviously too large. It's pretty clear. And or when price is ranging. So the volatility right here is pretty heavy. If the market continues to be very volatile like this, then we're just going to have to adjust our TP stop losses, because it'd be too tight for us to trade within, a range right here. Yeah, Jalan said, I just seen the spread widen so crazy on MFF when it spiked. Yeah, the market's moving pretty crazy right now, guys. So you guys want to be very careful about taking entries, especially on MFF, because if the spread's super wide, you're going to go in at like a massive drawdown. I think that's why I ate the loss here earlier, guys. So like looking at my copier, you guys can see I had profit on one account, but I had losses on these right here. I think the reason for that might have been because of the spread. So I'm not sure what the spread is on MFF right now, but Jalon just confirmed that the spread went crazy when price spiked right here. So this might be a good time to sit out of the market until the market kind of smoothens out. Because it's just moving a little crazy right now. Glenn's asking, do you have a one-to-one TP stop loss strat? Yeah, there's a lot of them, Glenn. So I don't know if you looked at the course, yesterday, last time when we spoke on Friday, I mentioned you should look at the course, right? It's completely free. There's nothing stopping you from looking at the course. If you looked at the course, you'd see all the strategies that are one-to-one. So guys, if you guys are new here, if you guys have a bunch of questions regarding the strategies, you just need to go to the website. Very simple, kodikaitrades.com, click on unlock your free access, and you have access to all the strategies. Glenn's question is asking if you have a one-on-one. We definitely have a one-on-one. We have a lot of strategies there. So just go to the course, look at the strategy videos, and find the strategy videos that fit your trading style. Because, I have a lot of strategies, but they don't necessarily fit everybody. So find one that you like, stick to it, and then master that specific strategy. So yeah, go ahead. Just go to the website and find it. There's the intraday strategy. That's a one-to-one. Pivot scalps, the one-to-one. I mean, there's a lot of strategies there that you can look at. Let me scroll up real quick and see if there's any other questions here. Yeah, Sam said he thinks Powell has a closed emergency meeting at 7:30. Yeah, it's for the Fed because of the banks that are getting hit with the recession. So for SVB, and then I think First Republic now is starting to go through some stuff. Yes, this First Republic dropped 60%, leads decline in bank stocks despite government's backstop of SVB. So we'll see where that ends up going. We'll see. It's just going to cause volatility in the market, which is going to be a good thing for us since we're scalping here. Let me scroll down real quick and see what else we're missing. So Natasha's asking, what size does a candle have to be considered too large? At least, no, Natasha. So when you put your TP stop loss there, if the candle's bigger than this, like here, let me just show you what I was just explaining. It's too large if it's too big. So it's like exactly what it means, right? So if the candle is too big, see this candle here is pretty big, Natasha. I'll measure for you real quick. This candle here is 900 pips, right? Would you take a 900 pip candle? Probably not, right? So it's like literally what it means. So like, for example, here, if you're going for this trade here and you're using a 100 to 300 pip TP stop loss, it's obviously too big, right? I mean, it's pretty clear. You just put your TP stop loss right there. It's too big. Same with the 2550. If you do that as well, it's still too big. So if the candle is bigger than your stop loss, it's considered too big, because if price needs to retrace down to the candle, it's going to stop you out. So there's no point in taking a trade like this. For example, the trade next to it right here, which would be a momentum scalp failure, you do the same thing, right? You'd mark it up. I mean, it wouldn't matter because it would still be fine as is. So for this right here, you would either use a 1030 or 2550. I wouldn't use a 1030 because if you look at the range here, all the candles here are big, right? So you need it to be at least big enough to survive any retracement. So I would use a 2550 or something like this. If you would have taken that for a momentum scalp failure, obviously price would have went straight to your profit target. That's kind of what you'd be looking for. Yeah, Maddie said anything bigger than the stop is risky. Yeah, 100%. That's an easier way to identify it. Hey, Brock, how's it going? Yeah, unfortunately for Brock said that now that daylight savings is happening, the session will always commence while he's still working. Yeah, I know it's gonna suck because you're gonna be an hour. You'll still be at work at this time, Brock. So yeah, unfortunately, it looks like you might be able to like hop into like mid session, or I mean, you might have to miss the entire session altogether because you have work during this time. All right, so it's 7:10 right now, guys. Let's take a look at all the time frames again. Looking over here on the longer time frames, price is still bearish on the 31 hour and 2 hour, but over here on the shorter time frames, price is now bullish. You can see here on the 1, 5, and 10, price is now above the pivots. Trend meter is green, pivots are angling up. We're obviously looking for buys here now. So our direction is shifted from sell to buy. So we're basically looking for any buy entries now. Right here may be a possible momentum scalp failure right here, guys. So this might be setting up for momentum scalp failure. If this here closes with a sell signal, it'll be considered a momentum scalp failure entry. Main thing to look for would be the volume down below. I typically don't take this entry here. Also because it's right next to the session. So the problem with this here is if you guys were to take this entry here, or I think it might be fine actually. You'd probably use a 25.50 for this one. I mean, I'm not going to take it myself, but I'm going to mark it up for you guys here. So we're waiting for this here to close. It did not close with the sell signal, so there's no entry there yet. Let's see, question from Glenn. Glenn's asking, can we take all sells based on the 5 if this candle closes? Why would you be looking for a sell here, Glenn? I'm just curious for your, because I don't see, we're in a bullish trend right now, so you're looking for buys, not sells. Let's see, question by Glenn's asking, can we take a sell based off the 5 if the candle closes a strong red? So if it closes with a strong red, that would be a V2 variation, if you're familiar with that strategy. But the bullish neutral bias, because if you look over here on the 5, 1, and 10, price is in between the pivots. In order for you to take a sell here, you need price to be actually bearish. If you're looking at the higher time frame, so I mean, there's different ways to apply it. For our scalping here, we're looking at these lower time frames. You can see that there's no clear direction of trend, right? Because price over here on the 10 is right down the middle. It was bullish, now it's bearish. Looking over here on the 5, price is still pretty neutral. Trend meter down here was blue, it just turned red. So there's no entry for me. If you're asking me if I would take it, I wouldn't. But I know if you're looking for a V2 variation, this would be a V2 variation. So there's different ways of doing it. If you're not looking on the shorter time frames and you're looking for a bigger move, then that would make sense because the higher time frames over here are bearish. So I can't say whether it's going to be a good trade or not. I mean, it's something that you could take if you wanted to, but it's not one I would take. there's no direction. So until you have some sort of direction here, there's nothing that I would personally take. Higher time frames here are obviously bearish. So if you do take a sell there for a V2, that could possibly play out. But the problem with this here is that if price continues to push up higher, then it's obviously not going to work out, right? Because there's no direction here with regard to the shorter time frames. So I wouldn't take it. There's no confirmation here. If price was obviously bearish, like if price was down below the pivots here on the 10 and down below the pivots here on the 1, and it was only up above the pivots on the 5, then I would possibly take it. But right now, price is still pretty bearish on the 1 and 5. I mean, it's bullish actually, sorry. So I wouldn't necessarily look to take any sells here unless you're planning on holding this as an intraday trade. Because I think eventually price will come back down because the higher time frames over here are pretty bearish still, but it's not for a scalp. Like if you were to take a trade like that, you probably want to hold it for a while. And you probably want to do that for a 1-to-1. So if you wanted to take something like this, you probably would want to take it for a 1-to-1, which would be 1,860 pips. That's a really big hold. right? To be holding on too far. It's just too big of a candle. I mean, this this candle here is too huge. If you were to take a trade like this one red candle right here is already 1,000 pips. So it's way too big. Yeah, exactly. Jalon said it's rejecting off the downtrend high on a higher time frame, so you might be in that trade for a while. Yeah, and I agree with you too, Jalon. I think long-term price will correct back down, but for the short-term moves, I mean, this wouldn't be considered a scalp anymore because this trade is such a big trade. This 5-minute candle is over 1,000 pips. It's 1,800 pips. So yeah, I mean, if you want to take it, or if you did take it, Glenn, we'll see if it ends up playing out. But obviously not when I take the volatility here is just way too crazy. Yeah, I haven't seen candles move like this since COVID. Because each candle here is moving pretty crazy. I mean, if you look at the 1 minute, each candle here is moving at least, let me just measure them real quick. I mean, they're not all big, but a lot of them are pretty big. Like this one over here, this candle is like 500 pips. And each candle is 500 pips. Like that's a pretty big movement for these 1 minute candles here. So now we're still looking for the first requirement, right? We want to confirm the overall trend. Until we confirm that, there's not going to be anything for us to take here. And this, just like when we thought the market was going to get better, the market started going crazy again. It was like pretty flat for February. It was good for like the first day of March. And then the rest of NFP was kind of crazy. And then now it's super crazy because we have all this recession stuff going on because the banks are taking hits. And then, I mean, there's just a lot of stuff going on. Yeah, there's just a lot of stuff here. Let's see. Frederick said, I think you're still good. Then danger is when you start trading under duress. Like now, I guess you're still at work and you're still here, right, Frederick? I agree with you 100%. Glenn over here is asking, maybe we can take sells if the 30-minute candle closes strong and rejecting off the pivots. I mean, it wouldn't need to close strong on the 30 right here, Glenn. So here's the problem. I think you're just speculating. You don't really understand like any of the strategies properly because, like, for example, here, this is a V1 variation, right? So I think you should actually, I don't think you actually sign up to the course and watch the videos. But so I think it's better if you like identify them as actual strategies, right? Because I mean, I can tell because I'm looking at it. So I can see what you're saying right now. Glenn's asking, maybe we can take sells if the 30-minute candle closes strong and rejecting off the pivots. So this candle doesn't need to close strong. You already have a double body right here, right? That's a reversal pattern. You don't need to wait for this to close strong. This would be a V1 variation. If you're looking for a V2 variation, this wouldn't even be a V2 because the high would have to be a green candle, right? So you're like totally mixing the strategies up, Glenn, with this here. I mean, if you're just looking off like basic price action, then I mean, yeah, if you want to call it that, but that's just speculating. You don't really have a strategy. So if you're just looking for a wick rejection off a pivot like that and a strong candle, that's not enough to really confirm that price is going to push, right? Because if you look back at previous candles that have setups like that, they don't always play out. You're just gambling at that point, right? So, I mean, your analysis is lining up slightly with some of my strategies, but they're not exactly on point. So if that's what you think, then you know, you can go off whatever your analysis is, but for me personally, I don't think that's enough to just, you're just speculating off that. Just because you have a rejection off the pivot with a strong candle doesn't necessarily mean it's going to keep pushing down lower. Like if you look back over here at other candles where that happens, it doesn't necessarily play out like that. So just, you know, what I recommend is make sure that you have an actual strategy. You're not just guessing like, okay, I see a pivot rejection, price has to come down, right? It doesn't necessarily have to come down like that. And I think that's where a lot of people run into problems with trading is because they don't have any specific strategy that they're following. They're kind of just guessing when they see these little rejections off these pivots. So the thing for me here is, I would identify this as a rejection to the downside because we're looking for a correction to the downside, right? But the reason I would look for that is because we have a double bottom here on the 1 hour, 30 minute, and then we have one over here on the 10, and also here on the 5. But this is really just speculating. You don't have an actual strategy when taking something like that. So you could, I mean, you could take it if you wanted to, but I mean, for me personally, I wouldn't necessarily take it off what you mentioned because you're kind of just looking at different things. I know there's different confluences that you can look at there, but there's no specific strategy that you're following. So it's hard to find consistency if you're not following the actual strategy. Because like you can look at any candles here. If you want to just take pivot rejections, I mean, you'll have a pretty good chance of hitting your trades, but odds of you actually being consistent long term is like a long shot. Because like anybody could get lucky trading, right? That's why you have to have some specific strategy that has some data behind it. Like for me, all the strategies that we apply, I've like tested these for like years. So I know how they work and I know when they don't work. But if you're just looking at something specific like a wick rejection, I don't think it's going to be necessarily a good thing to follow long term because it just opens up the opportunity to make mistakes. Question from Beshin. He's asking, what time are you getting off today? Same time as usual, 8 o'clock. Beshin. So it's 7:21 right now. We have about like 40 minutes until 8. So I'm still on for a bit, but I'm getting off same time. All right, so looking back here on the 1, 5, and 10, we currently, I mean, it looks like price is attempting to make its way back down. It's just a lot of back and forth movement today. We currently need to get a sell signal here on the 10-minute. So looking at this over here, we currently have the sell signal here on the 5. We have the sell signal here on the 1. We need a sell signal also on the 10. So just looking at where price is currently at, we don't have a bearish bias yet though. So looking over here on the 5, you can see that price is in between the pivots. And trend meter is blue, which is neutral. So here on the 5, price is in between the pivots. Pivots are going sideways and the trend meter down below is blue right now. So we currently don't have any overall trend at the moment. It's just gonna be a matter of time until this actually stays. So, I mean, basically for the most part, we want price to be down below here. Same with the 5, we want price to be down below here. And same with the 10, we want price to be down below here. Until we get that, there's just nothing for us to take right now. We just don't have any direction. So here's another thing back to like what you were mentioning earlier, Glenn. So see how the candles here are still kind of bouncing around? There's no direction set. So like, for example, you were talking about the 5-minute here. And I think also like what you need to do too, Glenn, is you got to focus on like whether you're trading on the higher time frames or the lower time frames, because you went from the 5-minute to the 30-minute. That's a big jump, right? Because these are like, they don't align at all. So if you're taking a trade here on the 5, it's going to be very different versus taking a trade here on the 30. So I'd recommend, like for me personally, I take all my trades on the 1-minute, right? I'm not really looking at these other timeframes for entries. I'm just looking at these timeframes for confluences. So you either want to trade on the 5-minute or you want to trade on the 30. You could trade on either one, but I'd recommend sticking to one time frame because your TP stop loss is going to vary dramatically. Like for example, here on the 1-minute, we're trading with a 300 to 500 pip stop loss. On the 5-minute here, it'd have to be way more because if you're trading on the 5-minute for like a 300 pip stop loss, it's easy to get stopped out, right? So you got to make a lot of adjustments if you're trading, especially if you're trading from a 5 and a 30-minute time frame. Those are like completely different. And those movements are going to be very different as well. All right, so we're just waiting for some sort of confirmation here. You still don't have anything. I mean, it looks like price is trying to crack back down. As you guys can see, there's a wick rejection across pretty much all time frames here. It's a good confluence that price is going to correct back to the downside, but I mean, obviously we'll have to wait and see where this ends up going. All right, let's see. Yeah, Jalon said I still use the Ichimoku cloud and there's a lot of mixed signals. Yeah, I know. That's why I stopped using it. The Ichimoku cloud was cool before because I didn't know any better. But yeah, you get a lot of mixed signals with the Ichimoku cloud. I mean, it's still cool. It still works. It's just you do get a lot of mixed signals. So it's not one that I personally like to. Well, I haven't even used the cloud in forever. That's the whole reason I created the trend meter because I really just use the Ichimoku cloud for trend. But I found better ways to identify trend using my pivots and the trend meter. All right. All right. So price is starting. I mean, it's not really moving. It's kind of died down a little bit actually. So I was kind of waiting for price to push down below or stay above, but there's not really much here going on. There's a V2 variation right here on the 1, V2 variation here on the 5, V2 variation here on the 10. So I do think price will probably come down a little bit because we have a lot of variations here, reversal patterns. If price continues to drop down lower, target price point for me is going to be the opening price down here. So I think if price continues to push down lower and lower, the area where I see price going to is going to be the opening price down here. I was hoping we could get at least one entry today, but I mean, the way that the market's moving, it's not really providing us any opportunities here, especially if it just stays below in between the pivots right here. I need price to actually push down below here on the 5 and stay below there in order for us to take any sells. Let's see, Maddie over here just mentioned retail sentiment. We haven't really looked at retail sentiment all year. I still think it's useful, but just the way that the market's moving right now, it's not really, I mean, it's not even that heavy. So retail sentiment is currently 57% long. This indicates where retail traders are currently selling or buying. So typically, you know, historically, a lot of people are not good at trading, right? So like, I think there's like 1% of traders in the world are basically consistent, right? Everyone could get lucky and not everyone stays consistent for a long time. So looking at this right here, we typically want to trade opposite of everybody else because, you know, obviously majority of people are going to lose at trading. If majority of people here are buying, we typically want to sell. So I'm obviously looking for sells here. Everything lines up for a sell. I just don't have the opportunity to make entry right now because of the volatility in the market. It's going to make it really impossible for me to enter a trade and feel safe about it. It's also right at the session, so it's not a good area to trade anyways to begin with. But yeah, if I was to look for a trade here, I probably would be looking for a sell. Looking over here at the fundamentals, everything's pretty bearish. So another reason to look for sells here as well. So looking over here at the Dow Jones, currently down 71 points. That's US30 YM. S&P over here is down 15 points. NASDAQ's down 4 points. And the Russell 2K is down 26 points, while the VIX is up 17%. So yeah, for the most part right here, everything's pretty much bearish. Yeah, I mean, there's not too much here to really go off of. So we just got to wait. But I mean, it looks like it's starting to be bearish. We just need a confirmation of the overall trend, which we don't have yet. So, I mean, it looks like we'll probably be looking for a sell here, but I actually need price to drop below here first. So price continues to drop lower. Target price point is going to be opening price. We just need a better confirmation. Yeah, Brock said at least one entry. I agree. Yeah, I mean, at least one entry would be cool. But if we don't have any entries today, it's fine. It's only Monday. We still have a whole week ahead of us. So just keep that in mind, guys, when you guys are trading. You know, there's no rush, especially if you're trading early on a week and especially on a heavy catalyst week like this week. Like I think the bank closure is gonna raise a lot of red flags in the market, not just necessarily for what we're trading, but it's going to cause a lot of volatility with price to push up very heavily or push down very heavily. So I just want to be a little careful with taking any entries here. Let's see, we got a couple more profits over here. So let me see what you guys locked in. Here's Shannon. Shannon locked in a total profit of 3,176 for the day. Nice work, Shannon. Solid profits right there. We have Christian over here. Total profit of, I think it's 37. I thought your profit showed up over here, but it looks like 37. So Christian locked in 37 right there on that account. He said he thought it was a momentum scalp variation, but noticed that the trend meter was red on the 10. Oh, 1037. Okay, so his profits here were, oh, okay, I see it right on the right side. It's 1,132. Nice work, Christian. Solid profits right there. We have Vincent over here, total profit of 121.24. So great work right there. And then on his second account over here, got his 100K account, total profit of 1,058 for the day. Nice work, Vincent. So solid profits right there. He took the sell right here as price came back below the pivots. So proper entry right there. Vincent, great work. Maddie over here, total profit of 1,075 for the day. Nice work, Maddie. All right, so I think that's it for right now. I mean, we haven't had any official entries right now. Let's see. Maddie over here, 835. We have Sisuk over here, total profit of 3,545 for the day. All wins. Nice work, Sisuk. Straight TPs. Sisuk's more profits right here, 4,145. Another profit locked in right there. Sisuk again over here, 4,895. Nice work, Sisuk. Sisuk's just hitting TPs left and right. And then lastly, right here, 5,645. So great work right there, Sisuk. We have Rashid over here, total profit of 2,560 for the day. Nice work, Rashida. So it looks like a lot of you guys here are taking trades just based off my analysis. I know we haven't taken any official trades right now, but that's because the market isn't really giving us anything to take. As you can see over here, the market's still pushing back and forth. So here's the chart again. We were looking for price to confirm the bearish bias here, but you can see here on the 1 minute that price is pushing up super heavy again, right? So, and the reason for this is the catalyst was down here at the sessions. This is why we don't take any trades at the sessions, because a lot of this stuff will happen right here where price will be manipulated. So if price continues to push back up, we might have a bullish bias. Right now, we don't have a bias. As you guys can see, price is currently bullish here on the 1 minute. Price is above the pivots. Trend meter starting to turn green. Same with the 5 minute here as well. Price is currently pushing above the pivots, hasn't closed yet, but the trend meter down below is blue. So yeah, Maddie said it went nowhere for the past 15 minutes, going sideways hard. Hopefully it breaks out soon. Yeah, no, same here. I agree with you too, Maddie. So going back to this analysis right here. So Glenn, remember how you were looking over here on the 30 minute? And you said if this candle here closes as a strong red, right? So this is what Glenn was looking at. Glenn was looking at this here and he said, okay, if this candle here closes with a strong red candle, like, would I take the trade, right? And I mentioned that I wouldn't, and this is exactly why, right? If you took this trade right here, Glenn, you'd be in some massive drawdown right now, about 1,300 pips. So you got to be smart about your entries, right? When you guys are taking entries, you got to make sure that you actually have a strategy that you're following. You're not just not looking for, a rejection with a strong colored candle, because that doesn't always play out. Most of the time, it actually doesn't play out. So I'm hoping you didn't take the trade here, Glenn, because this is what I was kind of warning you about earlier. To have some sort of strategy in place when taking these types of entries. So hopefully you didn't take the sell there, because if you did, your drawdown right now would be pretty massive. Yeah, 1,500 pips almost. All right, so back to the charts, guys. Unfortunately, there's still nothing for us to take here. I mean, I was hoping we could get one entry today to like kick off the trading week, but there's just no direction. I mean, overall bias here is still bearish, so obviously I do think price will come down. But right now, price is still going back and forth. The shorter time frames here are actually kind of bullish, while the longer time frames here are bearish. let's see. All right, yeah, so if this continues to push to the upside, then it looks like we could possibly have a bullish bias, but you just don't have that yet. So looking over here in the 1 minute and 5 minute time frames, you currently do have a bullish bias. You can see prices above the pivots. Trend meter is green. Trend meter was green here, but it's now back to blue. And it's back to green again right there. So right here on the 1 and 5 minute, you can see that price is bullish. Here on the 10 minute, price is still neutral because price is in between the pivots. So it's in between the pivots. It's not really bullish just yet. It's just right down the middle right here. We just don't have a confirmation here. Let's see. Madhu said he took the triple confluence for 250 pips. So yeah, Madhu here identified the triple confluence. If you guys are familiar with that strategy, you guys can see right here, this bullish candle closed above this high. This green candle right here closed above this high right here. This is what we call a triple confluence entry. So let me just mark this up over here real quick. I'll show you guys. Triple confluence. So this is what Madhu over here took. So he was confirming the overall bias, retail sentiment, fundamentals, technicals, etc. I think this here would have kind of been a bit of a iffy criteria because it's kind of hard to tell if it's bullish or not. Because I mean, on the 5 and 10, so the 5 here is bullish, and the 10 here was kind of iffy because it's right in between. So I mean, me personally, I probably wouldn't have taken it, but you know, if you saw it, then and it fits your criteria, then you could have taken the trade. So Madhu here did take the buy right here. Confirm a valid K2 momentum signal. We had a buy signal right here. Third, confirm the trend meter matches. I think at the time it was green and it just kept disappearing. So it came up, disappeared a little bit, and kind of bounced around. So maybe at the time that Madhu saw the entry, it was actually green down below. I can probably just replay it and see if it was. Yeah, so I think it was probably changing between green and blue because this candle here is pretty big and it pushed up. So I think this right here was kind of bouncing a bit. Yeah, Natasha said the trend meter was green because she took it too. Okay, so Natasha and Madhu caught it. They took the buy right there. So confirm the overall bias. We were looking for a bullish bias, somewhat valid buy signal right there. Trend meter was green at the time. Price closed above the pivots for a buy or sell. And price is breaking, closing past the high low right here. So with that said, this right here was the one that Madhu took. It's not an official trade because I didn't take it. But for you guys who did take it, it looks like Natasha and Madhu caught it. 250 pips right there. So great work, guys, for whoever caught the trade right there. I didn't catch it, so it's not gonna count as the official trade. And it doesn't fit under any of the criteria over here for the strategies that I am following. So, and here we go with price coming right back below. So as you guys can see, there's a lot of uncertainty right now with regard to the direction of price. The 1 minute here just keeps going back and forth. Price pushed up super heavy. Big red candle right here, price is pushing right back below. Still pretty bullish though, for the most part. Yeah, Madhu also mentioned that it rejected off an SR zone. Yeah, another one. So, you know, Madhu here used like multiple confluences. So like, for example, right there, I think there was an SR zone that he mentioned. Yeah, right there. So there's a lot of confluences here. He had the triple confluence, plus he had it rejecting off the SR zone right here. Rejection off the SR zone right there would provide a strong green candle. This would actually be an SR rejection entry as well. So it was like a quadruple confluence, Madhu, on your end, because you had the triple confluence there, plus you had an SR rejection entry. So it's basically 4 strategies in one candle. So yeah, no, it's a good call right there that you took it. Other than that, looks like we're still waiting, guys. So if there's any questions that you guys have, you know, feel free to put them in the chat. It's 7:40 right now. We have about 20 minutes till 8. I was hoping we'd have some sort of confirmation here, but we still don't have an overall trend. So in order for me to take any entries here, this 10-minute needs to confirm whether it's going to be below or above. So I need price to push above here, and it'll stay above there, or vice versa. Price pushes below here, stays below there. So at the moment, there's just nothing for us to take right now. That sucks for a Monday, but it's all good. I mean, it is Monday. So I'd rather conserve my capital and not eat any losses right here. I have to like climb my way out during the week. So here's Anelli's profits, total profit of 3,170. Great work, Anelli. Yeah, it's a smart move on like adjusting your TP as well. So the thing with Anelli here is he identified it as a bigger move. So he took it for a 250 pip TP versus the 100. So if you guys are quick enough to think on your feet like that, it's just a quick change in your quick trade manager, change it from 1,000 to 250, and then from there, or if you guys really want to just leave it as is, what I've been doing too lately, if I'm taking a trade, I just leave it at 500 both ways, and then I can make adjustments. Right, that's like one thing that I started to do as well, because you can always just take the trade and you can drag your TP stop loss to align with how it is on trading view. So like what I'll do is I'll set up my TP stop loss on here, but then I'll enter with like a wide TP stop loss on MetaTrader 4, and then I'll just adjust it as I'm ready in the trade. Because sometimes market moves too fast and you have to make adjustments super quickly. Unless you're going for like 100 pips. Like if you know for sure you're only going for 100 pips, then just set 100, because it's gonna move too quickly for you to get out of it. Yeah, Natasha said she does it when she's on her phone. It's just easier. Yeah, on your phone, you don't really have it. You got to be moving really fast on your phone, Natasha. So like for you, you could just enter manually and just manually exit. I think that's what other people do as well. They just enter on their phone, hit buy, and then they close it out manually as well when they see it hit TP on TradingView or wherever they're looking. Gotcha. Yeah, Natasha says she leaves it at 100 pips on her phone because she has to do it manually. Yeah, I don't know. It blows my mind how people can trade on their phone, especially for scalping, because you got to move really fast. I mean, even on the computer, I feel like I'm still a little slow. Gotcha. Yeah. So Natasha said she wants the green strip, so she will trade manually and modify it once she's ready in the position. Yeah, your math must be real good, Natasha. Well, I mean, it's not too difficult. Like if you were to enter, you just add a 0 to it, right? Or you add a 1 to it. So like if you entered at so right now it's at 31,892, you just put 31,902 on your TP. Yeah, you just got to change one number. Especially if you do it so often, I'm pretty sure it's like second nature, So guys, looking over here on the 10-minute, we're still looking for this to be above or below. We don't have that confirmation yet, so there's no entries for us to take here. But yeah, here on the 10-minute, we're just waiting for price to be above it or below it, which we don't have yet. All right, so price starting to push above here on the 10. We just need it to actually close above there and stay above there. If that's the case, then we can possibly look for a buy here, but we just don't have any confirmation of it yet. All right, so we got a possible buy signal right here. This, I mean, I don't know if I would take this as a momentum scalp yet, because the overall trend here is still not really strong. So I'll mark it up for you guys here. This would technically be a well, there was a momentum scalp variation down here. Obviously, I can take it because the 10-minute here still hasn't confirmed, but it looks like it already hit its TP. Yeah, there's a lot of entries that are coming up right here. So if you guys just look at the 1 minute, you guys can see that there's a lot of entries that are coming up. There's a momentum scalp variation there. The only problem is the first step. So first step is confirm overall trend on the 1, 5, and 10. Right here on the 1 and 5, it's obviously bullish, but the 10-minute here is not bullish yet. So that's why I'm a little bit iffy about taking any entries. But if you guys are still taking trades right here, I mean, there's entries that are coming up, but they just don't meet my criteria far enough for me to actually want to take it. So there's another one right here. It's currently running to momentum scalp entry. We have a buy signal here, and a buy signal here. So everything pretty much lines up. The only problem, again, is going to be the first step, right? So looking back over here at the first criteria, you want to confirm the overall trend. We have an overall trend here on the 1 minute, which is bullish because price is above the pivots. Trend meter is green and the pivots are angling up. Looking over here on the 5 minute, we have the same thing, right? Price is above the pivots, trend meter is green, and the pivots are angling up. However, here on the 10 minute, there's no overall trend right now because right now price is like in between the pivots. So price is in between the pivots. The pivots aren't really angling up or down yet. They're kind of just going sideways, and the trend meter down below is currently blue. So with that said, we don't really have a confirmation of like whether price is going to continue pushing up or whether it's going to stay down below. So it's really hard for me to want to take this trade here because I'm only looking for quality entries, right? This entry right here, it would technically fit criteria depending on how risky you're looking to be, right? I'm not really looking to take anything risky here. So I'm not taking any trades at the moment until I confirm a direction of price. So right here on the 1 minute, you can see how price is kind of spiking around a bit. Not the type of market that I want to be in because there's no confirmation of direction. So I wouldn't have taken this here, but other people in the group who are trading a bit riskier would be okay with taking these types of trades. So for me personally, this would be a no. And you can see here that's in some drawdown, but it is bouncing back and forth. Because I'm only looking for quality entries. I wouldn't consider this quality. I'd call this risky. And you can see right here, it just pretty much spiked right back down, got close to stop loss. Not a trade I personally want to be in. And there you go. Looks like it's going to hit TP, but you guys can see how choppy and crazy it moved, right? So if you guys took the trade, great. I didn't take the trade because as I mentioned, I thought it was going to be super risky, and I was correct. It was super risky, but it did play out. So there was an entry right there. The entry that we were looking at would be this strategy right here, the momentum scalp. So confirm overall trend. Overall trend wasn't really confirmed on the 10, but it was confirmed on the 1 and 5. So technically the criteria would have been met because you're only looking for overall trend. It doesn't have to be all bullish, right? It just has to be overall. So overall here, the 1 and 5 were bullish. 10-minute here was neutral bullish. Confirm momentum on the 10. We had that. Momentum on the 5. We had that. Momentum on the 1. That's a catalyst for entry right here. You enter on the close of the 1 minute candle, use a 1030 or 250, 1030 or 2550 TP stop loss based on the market movement. You can see right here, the market is very volatile. So you use a 2550 and it went straight to TP there. So if you guys caught it, great. If you guys didn't, completely fine. It's just not a good time for us to really take these unnecessary risks. But if you guys did take it, it did blast right through TP right there. It got close to stop loss, but it shot right back up and went straight past the profit target. So question from Christian, he's asking if that would be in high-low scalp. It would not be. So the reason why it would not be is because it already invalidated it on these next candles right here. Well, I mean, actually, no, you're right, Christian. This might be. It's super close though. So now that I zoom in, you could see it, but I mean, this candle moves so fast that like it'd be hard for you to tell whether it'd be an entry or not, right? So yeah, no, it was like literally on the. So I mean, I personally wouldn't have taken it because like if I looked at it from far away, it looked like it didn't break and close above it. But if you look at it up close, and it'd be impossible for you to figure out if this actually closed, right? Because this candle is moving so fast. But if you were literally looking for that specific type of entry, it would be an entry. So yeah, initially I was going to say no, but it did meet criteria right there. If you look like very, very closely. Yeah, the high-low scalp right here. Yeah, confirm overall bias, bullish, confirm the high, price broken, close past it, buy signal right there, would have met criteria. So yeah, no, nice catch right there too, Christian, for identifying that. Because I personally would have just said no, but now that we looked a little closer, it did meet criteria. There's another momentum scalp failure right here that's currently pending right now. The volume might be above average, maybe not one that we take. Yeah, volume is above average, so there's no momentum scalp failure right there. It's invalidated. Yeah, exactly. Christian said it's a double strategy over there. So yeah. Yeah, no, if you met that criteria right there, I mean, this would technically be a triple confluence, Christian. So it's actually a triple strategy because there's a momentum scalp here, pivot scalp, high-low scalp. There's a lot of entries that came up on the specific candle right here. So yeah, that'd actually be a reason for me to want to take the trade because there's so many confluences on that. But then again, just because of the choppiness of the market, I probably wouldn't have wanted to take it. Here he goes. Price kind of bounces back around. Here goes the momentum scalp failure, but volume was above average, so no entry off that. One thing that you guys could look for here is a possible momentum scalp variation. If you guys get a green candle that closes above this, if you get a green candle that closes above this pivot over here, it's technically going to be a momentum scalp variation, but you can see here that we still don't have an overall bias with regard to the trend. The 10-minute over here, trend meter is now red. Price is still in between the pivots. It's just not a good area to trade in. I mean, if you guys want to take the trade, you guys are more than welcome to. But for me personally, I'm not, I'm very risk averse. So I don't like taking trades like this where I'm not absolutely sure if it's going to win or not. And this is fine. I prefer to trade this way. So I don't have to risk being in like massive drawdown or have any like a red account to start the week. That's like the worst feeling. The worst feeling is when you have to climb your way out of a red account in the beginning of the week, because then it forces you to take riskier moves later on. And this direction of price sucks. Here we go. As price comes back down. If this is the case, then we might have to shift back to a sell. It's 752 right now, so it's getting close to 8, guys. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're going to have anything good. Let's see. Kenny over here said thousands evacuated after floods wreak havoc in California. Yeah, that's crazy. Thanks, Kenny, for the link. Yeah, Christian said, yeah, I'm out. Happy with the profits. So have a good day, guys. Yeah, definitely, Christian. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning. Dude's asking news in 8 minutes, right? Yeah, there's news at 8 o'clock. It's the consumer inflation expectations, and then three-month bill auction, six-month bill auction. So the news event at 6 o'clock, or not 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock is gonna. It says low impact, but I think it's gonna affect the market pretty decently. So yeah, we do have news right here. So all right, guys, as it gets close to 8 and as it gets closer to the news event, I think it's probably best to just call it a day unless you guys are continuing to trade after the live. If you guys do trade after the live, I'd probably wait until the market kind of smoothens out a bit. So like basically I would wait for like 9 o'clock to trade. We have news here at 8 o'clock, news at 8:30. Actually, I wouldn't even trade the rest of the day because right here at 8:30, we have the closed door emergency meeting for the Fed. This is like extremely high impact. So you might start to see some crazy movement after the live session. So if you guys don't have to trade today, I'd recommend just sitting out the rest of the day. Because the odds of you getting caught in like some crazy price spikes are going to be very likely. It says closed door emergency meeting, but obviously some of this stuff is going to be, people are going to be speculating around this time. So a lot of people will be either buying a lot or selling a lot, kind of betting on what the outcome is for this meeting. I think this meeting here is not going to be good because, obviously they're going to be talking about recession stuff and what they have to do about the banks that are getting shut down. because like with SVB being the first bank that's getting shut down, there's going to be more banks after it, right? Like First Republic here looks like it's going to struggle. JP Morgan, like basically all of the banks, look at all the bank accounts here, or everything that's like kind of linked to the crash that happened last week. All these here are super red. So we got PacWest Bancorp. It's down 47 points. That's huge. First Republic Bank, -75. Bank of America, -3. Charles Schwab, -16. Like basically all the financials are taking an extremely bad hit right now. So you probably want to be very careful about trading after the live session today. It's either going to spike price down lower or it's going to spike price up higher. I guess we'll have to see. All right, so the momentum scalp variation came up right here, guys. It was too close to the, I think the candle was just too big anyways. I don't think I would have taken this right here yet. The candle was extremely big, but it did hit TP. If you use a 25.50 stop loss, that there would have hit TP. There's another momentum scalp entry coming up right here, but again, it's not going to be at a good point. So, all right, guys, I think I'm going to wrap it up for the day. I don't want to get any FOMO and like hopping into any of these trades here because I'm starting to feel a little FOMO now because I'm seeing a lot of these entries hit, but they're just not good entries. For one, the candles are too big, so that's a red flag. And then for two, it's like right at the sessions. And then for three, price doesn't really have a direction. You'll see sometimes it'll push up, then it'll spike back down, then it'll push right back up. I mean, looking over here on the higher time frames, price is starting to push it pretty much higher. Like the 30-minute over here is starting to push it pretty heavy, and the 1 hour over here as well. I mean, it's still bearish on the 1 hour and 2 hour, but if it continues to push up higher, there might be a shift to the upside, which is, I mean, it's pretty necessary because price has been dropping for some time now. If you look over here on the 1 hour, price has been dropping since March 6th. So basically a week ago. But realistically, it's been dropping since like February. So since February 14th over here, price has been dropping down lower and lower and lower and lower. So, I mean, it's due for retracement back up for correction, but I mean, who knows for how long this will play out. So, all right, guys, I think this might be it. So Barack said, I think I'll let it go for now. Made my mistake, and FTMO appetite has my nostrils opening wide. Yeah, or FOMO appetite. Yeah, so Barack over here is done for the day as well. He said his FOMO appetite's going up pretty heavy. Madhu said he caught that SR scalp right there as well. So we caught another SR scalp here on the 1 minute. Man, you've been killing it, those SR scalps, huh? Video looks good. I think that lined up with another entry as well. So let me check real quick. Yeah, there was another SR scalp down here, I believe. Oh yeah, that was right when you sent the message. Madhu. That was this candle down here. Took that for a buy. All right, guys. So I'm gonna call this a day, guys. I don't think it's really necessary for us to really like be risking anything right now. The news is gonna happen right here in about 2 minutes. So to avoid myself from getting any FOMO and hopping into any bad trades here, I'm just gonna call it a day. We have 2 minutes till 8, so I don't think anything's gonna happen in the next 2 minutes. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, we'll be having our mentoring session later today at 2 p.m. So just, if you guys want to sit in on that, you guys can ask any specific questions there. We can review the market and see if there's any other possible entries for us to take during that time. So, all right, guys, other than that, I will see you guys later in about 6 hours. If you guys have any questions, feel free to email me. If you guys are new here and you guys want access to the strategies, just pull up the website, kodikaitrades.com, click on unlock your free access right here. And this will give you access to all of the strategies that we discussed today. And then some. There's about 30 strategies in the course. And they're all available to you guys completely free. So if you guys want to learn the strategies, see if it's for you, and you guys want to get access to the indicators at the live room, just feel free to check it out. Otherwise, I will see you guys back here tomorrow for the next live session, if not the mentoring session later today. So, all right, guys, have a